Welcome back to another Marvel Rivals video. This video is about a really funny game I had, and this is really what I want to be talking about in this video is the mentality of Marvel Rival players, especially when it comes to like lower ranks, like Gold, Platinum, Diamond, you know. The mentality, man, the mentality, bro, it's all over the place, bro. You'll have a game where you're going like, everyone's doing well in the team, no one's complaining, even if you're losing, like, no one's complaining, bro. Everyone's just trying their best, to win, right? And it feels like even if you lose, you feel like you couldn't have done anything different, right? You feel like you did everything you could, and yet you lost. And I think that's a fine thing, because, like, as long as you feel like you're doing good, or, like, feel like you're doing well, or feel like you are playing to your best ability, I don't mind losing in that situation. Then there are games where it's so goddamn easy that you just, like, steamroll the enemy and you feel like you did nothing. And then there are games like this one, which I'm going to go into detail here about, where you are winning, right? You're winning, you're doing well on the team. You know, all your DPS are getting kills, your tanks are creating space for your team, your healers are healing and they're also staying alive and not getting dived, or either they're getting dived, but if they're getting dived, they are staying alive. You know, they're not, the divers in the team are not getting any value out of it. They are defending themselves very well, or your team is feeling whatever they may be, right? A lot of things are going on in the game, so it's hard to kind of see, every little detail. My point is, though, you have these games where you are winning, right? Like, let's say you play Convoy like this game, you push the card all the way to the end, and then suddenly the other team is like going a bit crazy and they might push the card to second point, right? Like this game. And what happens then? Then someone is like, surrender! And it's like, my boy, we're not losing, bro. Like, we are not losing. Like, bro, we already got the card to third point. They only got to second point. They have like 1 minute left. Why are you surrendering, my boy? You know? Like, it's what I'm talking about. It's this weak mentality that people have in this game. And I think it's the same in other, like, games like, especially team-based games, right? Any game where you can blame others. Or any game where, like, where it's just like you're dependent on your team to do well, right? Especially if you're a healer, you're really dependent on like your DPS to get kills. But people are so quick, bro. People are so quick to give up, man. It's so crazy. Like, people are insistent on giving up almost. It's almost like they want to lose, It's almost like they don't even want to play anymore. But it's like, my boy, like we already got the cards to third point, and then you have like their team like going to second point, and it's like, okay, but we haven't lost yet though. And even if we are losing, don't you want to try at least? Like, it blows my mind that you would give up this early, right? Like, we haven't lost yet. I'll show you the gameplay. It's really hard to explain, but this guy was crazy. This Cloak and Dagger player might have the weakest mental I've ever seen in any of my games ever in this game. That is crazy, bro. Okay, enjoy the video. Okay, so at this point, we've already pushed the card to third point. We are basically just stalling. They do not have a lot of time left here. And I also hoping that we can stop the push, which is, I think, a good idea. I mean, I could also have support ult here, which would also been good, but I couldn't really see any supporters near me, so I just kind of, I almost called a panic ult. Like, I was just trying to, do whatever I could here. I run on my lamps here to survive, I run on my clones, I go invisible, and I just basically try to hold this point down, right, any way I can. I know that it's not, like, impossible to lose this one, because like the other team is actually like kind of carrying right now. They're kind of going crazy, right? Magic ends up killing me here, I believe, or I end up getting away. But at this point, right, they are not even like in a situation where we're in danger of losing the game, right? Like, we are not losing right now. We're doing way better. Here, help the Cloak survive so she doesn't die to magic. They end up pushing the card past this point. I believe my Cloak at some point around here. I don't know if it's right here or if it's the next point. I end up dying here, sadly. But she tries to surrender. The Cloak player, right, on my team, decides to surrender, or well, tries to at least. And it's like, we have not lost. Like I explained this, we have not lost yet. Yes, we are, staggering a little bit. Yes, they are pushing us a little bit back, and yes, they are getting the card kind of going. But I end up Captain America holding here, and it's just like, it's not a good idea, because I don't even know how to play Captain America. Like, this is actually kind of painful to watch. It's a really bad ult for me. It's just because like none of the healers were close, man. I tried to like find the Cloak, and she just wasn't there, man. So I just couldn't copy her. I ended up surviving this, I believe. Yeah, lamps. So it wasn't terrible. I got a little bit of value out of it. End up getting a pick here, our cloak ults, which is great. And then we just kind of hold this point for a little bit longer here, which is great. I go over here on trying to off angle, and I think my thought process is I'm fine because I have cloak ult there in that situation. But I don't think I end up dying there as well, even though you didn't see it here. So they push the card all the way to third point, right? At this point, I'm completely fine. I'm like, yeah, we have time, we can win. Yes, they are doing good, but we're also doing good. So he's like, get me off this team. It's the guy called Santana Mike. He's like, get me off the team. This guy wants me to go in this, which I get. Loki isn't always the best healer. I end up going Rocket because I don't actually play Invisible Woman. My Invisible Woman is kind of ass, so I just decided not to go with Invisible Woman. But the point here is surrendering at this point is a complete joke. Like, from any team, there's no point in surrendering at this point because honestly, I think there's very rarely a point to surrender in general. Like, we are doing fine. Like, we are doing completely fine, guys. Like, there's no point in trying to give up this early, right? Now, this video is about that, the big mentality, but it's also about something that a lot of other people do wrong in this game, and just in hero shooters in general, or in game where there's like a stat system. They fucking pay too much attention to the fucking numbers, okay? Like, for example, if you have 40,000 healing, they believe that you have done the best of the game and you are the best player in the game because you've done 40,000 healing, right? If you're a healer, and the rest of the team has done like 20,000. Okay, fair, bro, fair. You did 40,000 healing, right? But that's a lot of healing. True. But it does not explain the whole story of the game. It does not explain what else was going on. It does not explain where your team was or how you positioned or why you got that much healing. It's more complex than just looking at the numbers. These kind of games, you cannot just look at numbers and be like, okay, well, I got 50 kills, so I must be the best on the team. Where it's like, yeah, sure, and obviously there are some situations where it matters, right? I'm not saying that it never matters, but there's a lot that the numbers are not explaining to you about this game and what is happening in that game you're playing. It's more complex than just, well, I healed for 40,000, so therefore I must be doing well. Or I'm ace, so therefore I must be not have to switch. Where it's like, yeah, you're ace, but it's also more complex because even though, let's say for example, like you're playing Wolverine, right, and you're ace, but they have one tank on that team, and they might be running like a Magneto, or they might be running like a tank that can kind of shield himself or something, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, but yes, you have ace, but at the same time, Ryan, you're also running Wolverine into one tank. So it might not be what the team is actually needing to win. Like ace is true, yeah. You can have ace and you can do really well, but there are some situations where that is not enough. Where you need to switch anyway, simply because your character is not what the team needs to actually win. You might need another tank. You might need another healer. You might need a different DPS even. You might need a diver. You might need a flanker. You might need a character that can heal. You might need someone that can support the team in a different way that the character you're doing is currently, doing, even if they are ace, even if you are doing well. It's more complex than just, I'm ace, I have the highest healing number, I have the highest damage number, I did the most damage blocked, I have the most KDs, I have the least KD ratio, I did most of this, I did most of that. Those are just some things that aren't even mentioned in the fucking stats screen in the game. Like, for example, how many times did Rocket revive someone with his BRB? It doesn't say that anywhere. Another thing, like, healing output is different also because for Rocket, for example, a good example is actually use Rocket for this because Rocket's ult doesn't even heal anyone. It gives a damage boost and a shield. Shield does not count for healing. So yes, Rocket can heal for a lot, but his ultimate doesn't even heal, right? Whereas Cloak and Daggers or like Lunar Snow is just infinitely heal for like just like no one dies for like fucking 20 seconds, right? Or whatever it is, like no one just dies for this long. Rocket can't do that. Rocket can give a damage boost and he can give some shield. But does that count at the end of the stats? Does it say that Rocket gave shield to his allies at the end of the game? Does it tell you that at the end of the game? No, it does not. There's no stat that shows that. There's no stat that says, oh, I gave this much shield to my allies. There's only healing and damage and like, you have enormous KD and all that. But my point is like, people are so hyper fixated on these numbers that don't actually explain what actually happened in the game. Right? even when people are like, looking at like a pro gameplay, they're like, oh, this guy, he did so good, he went 51 in, 3 or something, which is great, right? You only died 3 times. It's amazing, right? It's great. And you got this many kills. It's obviously amazing, right? But does it explain the story of the game? No, it doesn't. It doesn't explain how people position. It doesn't explain how much game sense people had, or how they were getting dived, or how they timed the ults, or how they counter ulted, or how many healers they were running, or why their numbers were that high, or like my thought process is always like, if you don't die a lot, you're gonna heal from automatically because you're in the fight for longer. You don't have to run back from spawn back to your team, so you actually heal for more by that, right? And how do you survive? Well, it's a combination of being good at like using your abilities as a healer to survive, but it's also a combination of your team healing for you, your team kind of positioning in a way that you can heal them correctly, your team not staggering, your team not overextending, so they just die immediately, right? Like, losing one person in this game is a death sentence. If you're fighting a 5v6, you might as well give up in that fight. You might as well just retreat. It's how it is. Like, right here, right, we kill 3 of them. Like, they're not gonna win this fight. Another one dies because, again, we're 4-1 right now. It's insanity, right? So, stats don't explain everything. They explain some things. So we win the game, and then I'm like, whoever tried to surrender during the second round is crazy, is what I say, right? And he's like, I ask him why, he's like, trash team. And I'm like, give me a good reason, give me any reason other than much, because we were not trash, bro. He's like, look at the stats, He wants me to look at the stats, basically. I tell him that my Hela had a 6 kill, Since we're looking at stats, apparently, since stats all that matters, right? I'm gonna, say what I mean as well. If you look at the stats here, it is completely true that he has more heals than I do, and also more heals than the other team, but he's complaining that he was solo healing, right? But it's like, if you look at the other stats on the other team, if you're just looking at numbers, again, I think it's stupid, we're just looking at numbers, right? Their Rocket had the same amount of healing that she had, right? And then the Cloak Deck has the same amount I had, pretty much. Like, she had 2,000 more healing than me, right? It's so stupid. It makes absolutely no sense, right? And if you're looking at stats, really, are you not going to comment on, like, Hela getting a 6 kill, like wiping wiping their fucking team alone? Is that not something that should be, estimated? Because like our team wasn't trash, bro. Like, our Hela was actually cooking them for a lot of the games. She got kills after kills after kills, right? But he's not saying any of that. Like, he's not giving any like props to other team members. He's just thinking that he solo healed, and the only reason we won was because he solo healed, and I did nothing. Keep in mind, I'm trying to tell him here that there were so many times I saved him, right? Kept him alive, from getting dived by magic and all that. But no, he doesn't look at that. Like, if I keep you alive, bro, you're gonna stay in the fight for longer, right? It's so like, people are so like, people literally think that just because they have ace and they have the most healing in the game and also a lot of like kills, that they carried the lobby single-handedly, and the rest of the team had nothing to do with our winning, our win at all. That, keep in mind, this was the same guy, right, that I'm talking to right here. This is the same guy that got ace that tried to surrender in fucking round 2, right? When the other team was on attack, right? So like, if we had it his way, we would have surrendered. So what is he like? Please tell me in the comments if I'm making sense or if I'm just salty, because like, we won the game at the end of the day, bro. He did really well. I'm not trying to like say he didn't. I think that Clone Decker did amazing. He actually did the best on either team. I think he's a great player. I think he did really well. But his mentality is cooked, man. His mentality is fucking stupid. Like, the way he thinks about the game is stupid. It's I don't get it, man. I don't get why people are so focused on the goddamn numbers. Like, I understand that it's right in your face, it's something you can look at, something you can kind of show off to people. You can be like, oh, I got this many kills in this game, I got this much healing, blah, 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 where it's like, there's more to it than that. There's more to it than just the fucking numbers, right? Like, it doesn't explain the fucking story, man. Okay, so if Iron Man did 51 kills, right, but died 20 times, then maybe he didn't do that well, because he had to run back to fucking the point 20 times from spawn, right? Like, people don't understand, man. It's more complex than just the numbers, and this is a good example of why you should be very careful, first of all, by blaming your teammates based on numbers, but also just focusing too much on numbers. Anyway, this has been it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry if I ran a little bit, but I need to get this out of my chest. Anyway, have a good day, everyone.